Hello, everyone, and welcome to Down Bad, the self-help podcast where I, Jody Johnson, talk about everything mental health related, from the challenges that we face to the celebrations that take place. On the show, I use my vulnerability in hopes that the more we as humans talk, share, and work together, the more we make mental health care accessible and acceptable for every single human being out there. This journey is yours and no one else's. Not your mom's, your dad's, your siblings, your significant others, your neighbors, no one's. It's yours every single step of the way. So thanks for being here and staying true to yourself, even in times of uncertainty and discomfort. New episodes release every Thursday.
Man, I really wish I had you guys here for this sunset, but since you guys are here listening, I'll take that instead. Hello, and welcome back to Down Bad, or if you're a new listener, welcome to the podcast. I'm the host, Jody, and hopefully none of you guys can tell that I'm fighting off my allergies pretty hard today. But anyways, I'm going to dive into how cultivating kindness, starting with ourselves, can have a ripple effect on the people around us. And this is a really important topic to me because in my journey to foster more self-love, I've actually enhanced my relationships and my interactions with other people around me. And it feels almost as if, the kindness that I'm developing for myself is radiating onto the other people around me. And that is a really, really good feeling. So that's the whole reason I started recording today, because I wanted to remind you guys that kindness isn't just about being nice to others. Kindness, it starts with the way that we treat ourselves. Our nation, our world, it feels so divided. So in this episode, we're going to explore self-love as a means of building a more compassionate and connected world. So let's dive into it. Self-love is important. It's not about becoming a narcissist, being so self-involved that you ignore the needs and the feelings of everyone around you. It's about recognizing your worth as a human and treating yourself with respect that you deserve. Self-love is the foundation from which our genuine kindness can flow. When we're able to foster a sense of love and acceptance for ourselves, we're more likely to give the same grace and understanding to other people. So, for example, self-love connects us to others through various things, such as self-awareness and compassion. Because by developing a greater sense of empathy, it allows you to better understand and validate your own struggles. So as a result, you're going to be able to extend this kind of grace and understanding to other people. Another way that it connects us to others is by setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. And this kind of love and respect for yourself, it basically says to other people, I'm not with the bullshit. And I love that. I don't love a yes man in a friendship. I don't love someone that's going to enable me to do all the bullshit that I don't want to do, that doesn't, help me in this life. I love the friends that I have that are not with the bullshit, because it makes you individually, it makes you less likely to overextend yourself or stay in unhealthy relationships. You're someone that engages in healthier relationships that don't drain you, and relationships where kindness is mutual. Another way that it connects us with others is that it makes you more confident in the ways that you give. And what I mean by this is that you don't need validation from other people or fear that your encounters are going to drain you. When you're confident in your giving, that means that your giving is free, and that stems from the genuine desire to support and uplift other people, and not fear like your encounters with those people are going to deplete you of everything that you have. Another way that it connects, resilience when we're faced with challenges. That's a big one. Being able to stay calm and compassionate during difficult conversations or situations. When you can be kind to yourself when you're stressed, then you're going to be better equipped. When you can be kind to yourself when you're stressed, then you're someone that's better equipped to treat others with kindness instead of reacting with frustration or with defensiveness. Navigating conflicts with patience and respect for yourself is only going to build you emotional resilience. We can go on and on with these. The next is positive role modeling. Having a healthy relationship with yourself, that's modeling healthy behaviors for other people. You become an example of self respect and self compassion that encourages other people to practice the same things. It creates a ripple effect because if you can influence 1,000 people, and then those 1,000 people can influence 1,000 people, you're someone that's helping foster a new culture of self-love. And then finally, another reason that it connects us with other people is because by practicing self-acceptance, you are becoming more accepting of other people. Because denying ourselves, that only causes us suffering, emotional, spiritual, and even physical suffering, to deny oneself. You have imperfections, you have flaws, but can you accept them without judgment? If you can't approach others with an open heart, if you can't empty yourself to be present with someone else, then you're vulnerable to criticizing someone else rather than embracing, the differences or shortcomings of other people. So please, 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 please embrace your own imperfections without judgment. All right, so let's move to the problem with self criticism. Self talk is so important in cultivating kindness for yourself because it's something that we do mostly all day, every day. At least I do. I know that I'm talking to myself all day, every day in my head. So when our inner voice sounds like this, I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I can't do it. That's known as negative self criticism, negative self talk. And if we make this kind of dialogue habitual, then it's going to burn us out physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's going to deplete your motivation and your sense of purpose. You're placing yourself in an environment of constant stress, and you're going to lose your self compassion. Not only is the way that we talk to ourselves related to burnout, but it's also related to anxiety, the fear of failure. This is catastrophic thinking that is going to paralyze you. We have a self fulfilling prophecy, and our avoidance is literally going to lead us to make our expectations or beliefs, the ones that are negative, come true. The way that we talk to ourselves is also related to the tension that we experience in our relationships. In my readings for class this week, there was a poem, and in it, it read, "Words are the source of misunderstanding." And I couldn't agree more once I read that. And I believe that this begins internally. The words that we use could be the very reason that we misunderstand ourselves. So, how the hell could we develop empathy and compassion for someone else when it's a gift that we have not yet given ourselves? How we judge ourselves also dictates how we are going to judge other people. It shapes our external behaviors like projecting our insecurities, difficulty accepting compliments from other people, perfectionism and overachieving, emotional reactivity, resentment, withdrawal, and passive aggressive behaviors. So, I want to share with you guys right now a moment where self criticism hindered my ability to be kind to other people because self criticism has, in the past, hindered my ability to be kind to others. And I'm going to give you one example of this, even though it's happened many times in my life. My sophomore year, I had an incident with a friend, and I was down astronomically. And I treated myself like shit during this period of time in my life. So I felt like it was okay to treat my friend like shit too. And after my friend had confronted me about, being a dick, I said something to them along the lines of, "Oh, it'll be all right because, you love me and you'll still be here at the end of the day," not realizing, how bad of a thing that is to say at that time. But of course, it didn't go well because I completely invalidated my friend's feelings, my friend's experience of what I was doing. So I really realized that day that the way that I treat myself influences the energy that I'm bringing to my interactions with other people around me, my friends, my family, and, just random people that I interact with throughout the day. Because I didn't have kindness, patience, or understanding with myself. And I definitely didn't give it to my friend in that moment of time. And even after I invalidated their feelings and they responded to me, of course, how they would respond, I still felt defensive. I felt like I was being attacked because, they didn't like what I said. But later that day, we were able to sit down in a room together and have a conversation where we could both be kind, patient, and understanding with each other because we're humans and we like to mirror each other. And if you guys don't know what the mirror effect is, it's when people reflect the energy we give them. So treating yourself with kindness invites others to do the same. Can you see how my friend's maturity allowed our friendship to grow? Because they weren't asking for much. We sat down in the room, and I was definitely in the wrong, but we needed that kind of space to be able to enhance and develop our friendship. And my friend was not asking for much. I guarantee you that, because that moment of time broke a cycle of negativity in both of our lives. Self compassion disrupts cycles of resentment, of judgment, and impatience in our relationships. So, the biggest thing that I learned that day, especially, is that being kind to yourself when you're stressed or feeling down can prevent projecting your negativity onto other people. But how the fuck are we actually going to do that? It's so hard. I mean, there's so many stressful things that happen in any given day. So how do you do that? Well, like any other thing that you want to get good at in this life, it's going to take practice, actionable strategies that, again, um, don't come in a one size fits all. You can do things like use daily affirmations and practice journaling. And I know this is something that helps me out. It helps out a lot of other people. But I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. I haven't really been disciplined with it lately. Like, I know that that's what it gives me cognitive dissonance because I know that it helps me, but I'm not doing it. So I think that I need to be more consistent and I need to hold myself accountable and continue to practice daily affirmations and journal. I'm kind of being my own worst enemy right now. Another thing that you could do is set healthy boundaries without guilt. Like I just told you what my friend did. And I'll give you guys the advice that I gave to somebody the other day that asked me for advice about, taking things personally. And the first thing that I told them is that you're a human being worthy of other people's respect and kindness. Because that's true. You're not asking for too much to ask other people for respect and kindness. You're a human being. People should respect your boundaries if you're putting them in place. Nothing personal at the end of the day. Another thing that you could do, and I talk about these two things, I couldn't tell you how many times on this podcast, but practicing mindfulness or meditation. And there's so many ways that you can practice mindfulness or meditation. This kind of practice is going to help you foster self awareness. You're going to have to sit with those demons, you're going to have to sit in a quiet space and feel really, really uncomfortable to see what arises from your body. You're becoming more and more aware of yourself and things going on around you. And guys, that brings us to the ripple effect. That's one of the biggest reasons that we're here today is that not only does this help you, but it helps your friends, your family, strangers. It just helps the world around you. Let's first start with romantic relationships. You've probably heard of the quote, "You can't love someone until you love yourself." And I agree because self-love can lead to healthier dynamics with our partners. When we validate our own feelings and our own needs, we're we're making ourselves better equipped to validate and support our partners. Self-love helps us combat our jealousy, the feeling that we're going to lose someone or something important. Self-love, that's something that's going to help us understand our self-worth, that goodness is not a limited commodity, and to be compassionate to ourselves when we actually feel jealous. Because, hey guys, guess what? Feeling jealous in itself is not a bad thing. It's how you manage being jealous that matters. That is what is most important, because we're human beings. We're going to feel, feelings of envy and of jealousy. It's what we do when we feel those feelings that matters. Self love helps us combat our insecurity. The things that are rooted in self doubt, fear of rejection, or feeling inadequate. But guys, self love is going to help us build confidence, show us that our worth is not determined by external factors. It just isn't. And we begin to accept ourselves for the unique beings that we are, because at the end of the day, we're just like everybody else. We're just like every other human being on this earth. We're like some other human beings on this earth. And in some ways, we're like no other human being on this earth. And lastly, self love helps us combat our unhealthy dependencies. But self love, that allows us to fulfill our emotional needs internally and set and maintain those healthy boundaries, and most importantly, taking goddamn care of ourselves. Okay, the ripple effect on friendships and family dynamics. This one for me, practicing kindness towards myself, that's created a safe space for deeper connections with my friends and family. You know, I place these things in my life: non-toxic communication, mutual respect, and greater emotional support. That's the ripple effect that has happened in my life, and the ripple effect, extending into the the rest of the world. The answer that I have for this one is sixfold. You're cultivating emotional stability. You're fostering empathy and compassion for others. You're inspiring others to reduce their stress and increase their well being. You're encouraging positive self expression. You're reducing negative judgment. And you're promoting positive change. That's what you do when you extend your kindness to the world. That's the ripple effect that you'll have. I need you guys to never forget that small acts of kindness go a long way. Smiling at a stranger, holding space for others. I held the door for a lady the other day at Wawa, and she just looked so entirely shocked that I was holding the door for her, like I wouldn't let her touch it. Like, when's the last time that someone did something like that for her? Who knows? I think that it's the tiniest act in the world to hold the door for somebody that's behind you, but someone may have not done that for her in the last like 2 months. Maybe she felt seen and noticed. Who knows? My grandfather, I know, growing up, you know, I would pass him in the house, and he didn't always have to, say a word to me. He would just look at me, give me a smile, and I don't know. Internally, it just makes you feel better to see somebody else smile. And it could be a bad day, it could be a good day. Regardless, like, he would just look at me and give me a big smile, and I remember that even now. And guys, you got to remember, there's going to be barriers to practicing self kindness. Like, that's why we have to practice it, because we're going to constantly meet guilt. We're going to meet shame. We're going to meet perfectionism. We're going to meet societal pressures. Duh. Because they're internally, socially, and culturally ingrained into us. We didn't just develop these barriers in one day, they were molded. That's why I created a whole entire episode on cultivating kindness. Because this shit isn't easy. It's hard. It's real. But we can combat these barriers. We 100% can combat these barriers. The only limits that exist are the ones that we place on ourselves. And I don't know who made that quote, but don't quote me, because it wasn't me. But we can reframe our negative thoughts with compassionate language. We can celebrate small wins and be gentle with our setbacks or our injuries or our failures, or whatever we think is holding us back, because we don't know what forward is. We can't read the future. We can, do these things and set things in place to, set us up for those goals or those expectations that we have, but we don't know what's guaranteed in the next 5 days, 10 days, 2 years. Who knows? But we can cultivate a growth mindset around self-improvement and accept that self-love is a practice, not a destination. Notice how I'm saying we can, because we can. And earlier this morning, I knew that I was going to sit down and record this episode today, so I wrote an affirmation on a sticky note this morning that says, "Yes, I can." There it is for you video listeners or watchers, whatever. Manifest it. Make it happen. What I want you guys to do is to reflect on how you currently treat yourself and how it might be affecting your relationship with others. And regardless of whatever your answer is, regardless of wherever you're at, what is one thing, what is one act of self-kindness that you can practice daily for a week? Can you spend 1 week practicing an act of self-kindness? Just one thing. That will be my listener challenge for this week. And if anyone tracks their progress, I would be more than happy to share the results within, the podcast community that I've built up. But that brings us to, almost the end of another episode, guys. So don't forget that loving yourself, it isn't selfish. It's the foundation for creating a kind, compassionate world. Small shifts in how we treat ourselves can create big changes in how we show up for other people. So start with one simple self-kindness practice today and notice how it shifts your interactions with the other people around you. And if you found this episode helpful, please leave a 5-star review, or however well you thought this was. I'm not too good at this thing, but I try my best. But leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed the episode. Subscribe or follow the channel on whatever you're currently listening to this on or watching this on. And if you can, it's still not too late to donate to my fundraiser, because I am running the Philadelphia Marathon in 7 days with Team Active Minds to promote and spread awareness for mental health, especially for young adults. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I'm happy to be posting every week again, even though, I'm not really dropping every Thursday because I've been, procrastinating everything in my life. But anyways, next week I'll be posting an episode on how to be present in thankfulness. It's coming around a good time to record that episode because I'm about to complete that marathon and Thanksgiving is coming up. So I got a lot to be thankful for. But anyways, don't forget to stay up to date with Down Bad on social media. Down Bad, a podcast on Instagram. My Instagram and YouTube are Jody MF Johnson. And in my personal Instagram bio, you will see my link tree that has all my links to everything, including my fundraiser for Active Minds. So, as always, thank you guys for being here. Be kind to your mind, your body, and the earth. Ka-chow.